What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and this time I want to talk about what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of tickers out there. And break down what news came out for Tesla that's kind of significant for today that's leading it to sell off the way it is. Also, some other things that are going on with the market. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things before starting. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks plus a $50 cash reward. The offer ends in just about 8 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, so looking at the market right now, we're starting to see the market selling off quite a bit. Looking at Tesla's thing is down quite a bit. It's actually coming down to the level we were talking about, filling the gap, but now it's dropping a little bit lower than that. Tesla's still up about 0.2% after gapping up and pushing during the pre-market, but it still is coming down to fill this gap. Not looking the best, at least so far. Now, with Tesla looking this way, my only question would be, is it going to continue dropping like this, or is Tesla going to get a bounce? And so far, I believe this is going to depend on how the market interprets tomorrow, how the market's going to start responding to what's about to be said and any pieces of news, because the market is still looking bearish and we haven't actually bounced just yet. So I want to break down these technicals and also talk about some news. So there's this news that came out right here that Tesla's engineering executive Colin Campbell has joined Redwood Materials. Unfortunately, he left Tesla after being a part of it for like 16 years. So it's very sad to hear this. And with him leaving, this is a negative piece of news for Tesla. But despite that, it's not just that big piece of news. There was also another accident that happened with the FSD that could play a role in it. But we're seeing some good articles too about how this is just reflecting some of the things that analysts said yesterday about how Tesla could go to $300. They're mentioning that there are three main factors. The Cybertruck is going to be one big one, and there's no doubt about that, as this is going to bring in more revenue, and it's going to get so many orders pretty fast. Driver assistance software is going to be very bullish for them too. And finally, Tesla Energy is going to be another big factor. Tesla Energy, once again, is going to be continuing to grow as they actually saw 74% growth from just energy generation and storage revenue just in Q2. So it's going to continue to grow as time goes on, especially in areas with high demand. And I'm still very, very bullish for Tesla thanks to all these different factors. But looking at what's weird about Tesla stock would be the fact that we were pumping so nicely for the last few days. We came down a bit. I was expecting us to try to bounce a little bit better. So far, we're not getting that good of a bounce, and it is looking a little weak for now. So we're going to be, we're going to be watching this in a very unbiased manner. So if Tesla tries to pump, okay, you want to see Tesla stock get above this 235 area. If it manages to do so, if it gets above this resistance zone right here, this is also very close to where our 20 EMA happens to be, just under 235. If it does so, it has the potential to push up to about this 236.5 area. That is where the 20 EMA used to be. And if it gets above that, 238 could come once again, followed by 240 and beyond. We have this imbalance here, which is going to act as a magnet if we do get above 238, but so far Tesla struggled to do so. You could see Tesla came down in the morning, got a little bounce off 235, retested 238, and just continued to sink. And if Tesla were to sink down, you're watching the 50 EMA support at 231.5. If that breaks, watch 230. And if that fails us, Tesla's going to come all the way down. If 230 breaks, I could see Tesla come down to about 228 and potentially 225. Then we have this imbalance down to 221 if that breaks. So there's quite a bit of downside that could come if we end up breaking below 230. So we want to see Tesla hold above this for now. And we're just going to be watching this in a very unbiased manner. That's really honestly the best thing I could tell you. I was hoping Tesla would see some buyers stepping in, but unfortunately we're not getting enough. And it's not looking that great so far, but this could change later on, maybe tomorrow. We're going to be seeing, is this forming a head and shoulders? Are we about to see more downside, or is Tesla going to try to hold these levels? 230 is going to be a very, very key support. Now for SPY, I just want to mention that SPY is also doing the same thing as Tesla, looking relatively weak. We're watching a test 437.5 as our support, or it came very close to that as major, major support. If it breaks below that, this thing is going to sink all the way down to the 436s and potentially come down to 435.62, the low we saw yesterday. It's looking weak. It's looking like it's forming this distributive structure. Could we get a little bounce and a retest to like 440, then come down lower for a head and shoulders? Could this be a head and shoulders that's forming? Is the market really that weak? So far, what happened was Nvidia started sinking a little bit, and that is playing a role in this potentially forming. So there's a possibility of this. We'll see if we end up getting some kind of breakdown, if there's like a little bounce or not, and if we end up just continuing to sink lower going into Wednesday. There's some fear about Nvidia's earnings, so we're just going to be watching these levels. We have to see if SPY can hold 437.5 to 438. If it holds them and tries to bounce, it could try to make its way back up to 439.5. And if that breaks, 440 could come, 440.5, and then these higher levels where these imbalances happen to be. If it fails to do so, if it fails to get any sort of bounce, we could see it come down. Once again, like I said before, 437.5 is going to be support. If that breaks, 436.5 could come, followed by these much lower levels. I'm just going to watch this in a very unbiased manner for now. And then for Nvidia stock, I want to still talk about Nvidia because I'm getting lots of requests for it. We were talking about some kind of bounce off this like 470 area. That's what I was thinking. It actually didn't bounce off there. It just continued to fall straight from open. So that's very unfortunate. It's looking a little weak, but could this be a falling wedge that's developing? Let me just double check this. One more time. There's a possible wedge that could be developing on it, but it's not looking that convincing to me. It's not looking that strong. So we're going to be watching to see how this ends up playing out. For now, it's just continuing to sink lower and lower. So it's just a matter of time before we end up seeing how this develops. But I could see this sort of wedge-like pattern play out. It is trying to play out right here. So it might get a bounce later on. But the thing is, even if we do try to get some kind of bounce, I question how big it's going to be because we failed to break 480. For us to get to 500, I mentioned we have to hold 480. We failed to do so. So the best thing to do is not really worry as much about the wedge, but focus more on what the price action tells us. So right now, if it breaks below 452, that's going to be critical support. It's going to sink down to 446 and 442. If it bounces off this 456 area, watch 460 is resistance. Some resistance at 462, 465 above that, and 470. So watch these levels carefully. It's trying to base right now. It's trying to base between 450 to about 456. We'll see if that tries to hold. If not, be very, very careful. For now, the market has slowed down a bit because of this. We will see what happens for tomorrow. For the QQQ, it came down to this trend line of support. This 362 area was tested exactly as we predicted. But now my question is, will we get much of a bounce, or is this forming like a head and shoulders? Could this be a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder forming? And are we about to get a sell-off right before Nvidia's earnings instead of what we were predicting? That's another possibility. So we have to be open-minded to this. Look for a potential bounce. It could have already formed the right shoulder right here. If it breaks below this support line, you're going to be watching it retest 362 flat. This support right here. And if that breaks, this thing could get a big rug pull down to 360 and the bears could take over. So the bulls are looking weaker. We're going to be watching all these different levels carefully. And for Tesla stock, the bearish momentum is still taking over. So it's not looking that great so far. Like I said before, don't forget to watch your levels. And I just want to keep this short and simple. Okay. So watch your levels. Do what you have to do, guys. I'll see you guys later on for the final video. And please, please, please be careful because sometimes the market could do unexpected things. And we will see if the market could try to bounce off particular levels or not. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day. Tesla to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.